And take your belt and loop it around the ball of your right foot. You're going to straighten your right leg up towards the ceiling and hold one end of the strap in each hand. And remember, with somatic yoga, we're working more lightly, so I'm not really looking for like the deepest stretch I could find. I want to just find kind of a neutral place and backing away enough that I can get a neutral spine. So for me, that means a little bit of my low back is off the floor. So you see my leg is not completely perpendicular because I'm trying to stay relaxed. So if I'm relaxed and I bring my leg perpendicular to the floor, my low back goes down. So I want to find a place where I can be relaxed and I have more of a neutral spine. And you'll see why in a second. So once you have found that, you're holding onto the strap, but as lightly as you can with support. So trying not to death grip it. And then when you inhale, arch your spine away from the floor. We're going to do a little arch and curl here. As you're ready to exhale, start to melt your spine back to neutral and curl your spine down towards the floor. So your leg may move in and out, and that's okay. And again, come back to neutral, kind of melting. And then inhale, arch your spine away from the floor. Press your shoulders down, sacrum down a little. Starting with your exhale, start to melt your way back through neutral and curl your spine down towards the floor. And breathe. And then melt yourself back to neutral slowly. And one more time. Inhale and arch your spine. Starting with your exhale, start to make your way slowly back through neutral. Curl your spine down. And breathe there for a moment. And then come back to neutral. Readjust your grip on the strap if you need to. And now give yourself enough tension that there's a little bit of resistance here. So my hands are already getting a little tired. So I'm going to loop it around a little so I can relax my grip a little bit. So a little bit of tension on the leg. Here, if your spine comes out in neutral and you're more in a curl, that's okay. So we're going to keep the strap in contact with the foot and then just point your foot a little bit. So I can't completely point it or the strap will come off like that. So it's more of a floint, a little bit flexed, a little bit pointed. So we're going to point and then flex. So I'm trying to pull the top of the foot down towards my shin. So now move through that really slowly. Point and slowly melt your way into flexion. So top of the foot towards the shin. And yes, they're both technically flexion. This is dorsiflexion, but often we think of pointing. So slowly go to point. This is plantar flexion or moving toward it. And then slowly melt it into dorsiflexion, top of the foot towards the shin. Okay, we're going to keep that there. Take the strap into both ends of the strap into your right hand. And if you're using a block or a bolster, you might want to scoot that a little bit closer towards your hip. We're going to turn the right toes out just a little bit and allow the leg to come out to the side until you find that support. If that's not available for you, if you need to build up more support, just pause this and grab some more props. I need to scoot this a little closer. That sometimes helps, just having it a little bit closer will give you more support. And you can stay here with the leg bent or extend your leg out, left leg out. And then just relax and we'll breathe here for a moment. Let this be as passive as possible. So if you feel like you're really, really working in it, then you've taken it a little bit too far. So I could take my leg further to the right, but I'm gonna have to really work to keep my left hip in contact with the floor. So that's the prop, is to give me a little bit of help there. So I can relax a little bit into it. I don't have to work the left side of my body as much. And then really slowly bring your leg back upright. Release the strap and lower your leg down beside the left. And this is a nice spot to do a little mini scan. You may already feel some real differences happening here. It would take too long to really go through everything I'm feeling in my own body, but my right side feels completely different to my left now, even more than it did when I started. So I'm going to put the block over to the left side, bend both your knees again, and let's take the strap over the ball of the left foot. And then straighten your left leg up. So starting out with the elbows on the floor, holding onto one end of the strap in each hand. If you want to go ahead and loop, if you were like me and your hands got a little bit tired, then it's a good place to go ahead and start out. And then have your leg far enough away from you that you can find a neutral spine. So too close in, you're going to be curling your spine down. Too far away, there's going to be arch. So finding that sweet spot where there's a little space between your low back and the floor. Now, some of us, I did not mention this on the other side, you might need to bend your knee to get that. And if that's the case, that's okay. Just notice if this changes as you practice this kind of somatic movement over time. All right, so we're gonna hold a little bit of tension, soft tension, and with your inhale, arch your spine away from the floor. And then starting with an exhale, melt your spine back down through neutral and curl your spine down into the floor. You might feel your leg move around a little bit. It may come a little closer and further away as you do this. And then melt yourself back to neutral. Remember, you're breathing. You start the movement with the breath, but you don't have to stay on that breath. Next, inhale, start to arch your back away from the floor. And feel that contraction of your muscles. And as you exhale, start to melt your spine down towards the floor, curling your spine down. And then melt it back to neutral. Well, hello there. And then one more time, just like that. Inhale, arch your spine. And as you exhale, you'll start to melt your spine back down towards the floor and curl your spine down. And then make your way back to neutral. So keeping the strap on the ball of your foot with your spine as neutral as you can, we're going to point and flex the foot a little bit. So floint. Press the ball of your foot into the strap, and then dorsiflex the foot. Pull the top of the foot towards your shin, getting into the calf, and then slowly melting back to that point, feeling the contraction of your calf. So even here, doing a little somatic movement, that pendiculation in the calf muscle, and then slowly melting it back to that dorsiflexion. One more time like that. Point your foot and slowly melt it down to dorsiflexion. And keep that dorsiflexion. We're going to take the strap into both ends into the left hand and turn your toes a little bit to the left, wherever your block or bolster is, scoot it in next to your hip for support, and start to take your leg out to the left. This leg can be bent, or if you want to straighten your right leg out, that's an option too. And then just hang out here for a little bit. Let yourself soften. Let your spine be long. Relax your jaw. Notice any unnecessary tension in your body. And slowly bring your leg back up, remove the strap, and lower your leg down beside the right and check in again. Little short scan to see if you notice anything has shifted or changed. Resting here for a few breaths.